I know that I was born for more, but what are people gonna think about me? What if I say the wrong thing? The minute you realize I give a lot of value to what other people think of me, you now have the opportunity to change that narrative. So, good morning, Facebook and YouTube, where this will be posted. Good to see you guys on here. Today's subject is on moving past people's judgments. And as I go deeper on this, I'd love to know in the comments for you to let me know if people's judgments have held you back. All right, can you put an example of where people's judgments have held you back? I'd love to know, have they held you back? If you put that in the comments, that'd be great. Also, I'd love for you to give me a score. Okay, so I'm Joseph Wilson. I'm a coach. I'm not your pastor. I'm not your counselor. I'm not your ministry leader. I'm a coach. And so I ask you questions like a coach would, because my goal is that you move, right? You move. So judgments, have people's judgments ever stopped you? Can you write in the comments what you stopped doing, or what you never did, or what you never started because of the fear of people's judgments? The other thing is, I want you to give yourself a score out of 10, 10 being you absolutely don't care about people's judgments, and 0 being you fully care and don't move at all. Where are you on that spectrum? Okay, so give me a score as well. All right, if you're watching the replay, remember #replay. And I want you to give examples of what you didn't do or what you stopped. So don't just say, well, I didn't jump into my dream or my purpose. No. I want you to give me an exact example of what you didn't do. This is for your own self, right? Not necessarily for me, but awareness is the first step. We go from awareness to governance to stewardship to dominion. Are you with me? We go from awareness, governance, stewardship, dominion. So awareness is the first step. And 10 is like you don't care about people's opinions, which is, I don't know how many people there are that are a real 10, because they might not realize, right? So as we go into this judgment conversation, many people don't realize how much they actually care about other people's opinions. So as a coach, when I start talking to people and ask questions, usually we get down to the bottom and we catch the root. And the root is always, in most cases, right? The root hits, what are they going to think about me? What are they going to say about me? What, and what if they don't like me? What if they don't love me? Because deep down, we all want to be loved. So I kind of bypassed all of that, but let's talk about this a little bit. All right, today I'm just having like a chat. I didn't put any slides on because we don't need slides every time. So let's go into this. As a coach, my job is to mobilize people. My goal is to mobilize people. And I believe that inside you is something that the world needs. Inside you is something that the body needs. Inside you is something that can make this world a better place. Something that is the light of the world, right? The salt of the earth. There is something in you to walk out on the planet. And it is a beautiful thing. It's a great thing. So when I talk about purpose, I like to break the whole idea of purpose into multiple assignments. You have an overarching purpose, which is made up of multiple assignments. So Jesus had this overarching purpose of reconciling creation back to the Father, but he had multiple assignments in that purpose. And one of those assignments was actually to learn the Torah and be really good at understanding it and able to debate with teachers on the Torah by the time he was 12, right? That was one of the assignments that led to an ultimate purpose. Another one of his assignments was between 12 and 30 years old. Jesus was mastering the art of building or carpentry. He was making things with his hands, and he was charging invoices, right? He was charging and he was getting paid for what he was doing. So he had another way that he moved into a new space, a new realm, and he had to learn how to be good at that. Some people think that you do stuff with God and you just have to be a good person, but you don't necessarily have to be good at what you do. But the truth is that if you're walking with God, you're not just going to be a good person. So you don't just have the character, you have the competence. You're not just good at heart or good in nature. You're good at what you do. You desire to be good at what you do. So what you're going to find is some people are very good at the character and the nature, but they're not very good at the competence, the ability, right? And some people are very good at the competence, the ability, but they're not very good at the character or the nature. I'd love to know where you are in the comments. If you can write, are you more of a character, nature person, but not that good at what you do? Or are you very good at the doing element? You're very good at your job. You're very good at your field. You're very good at the doing part, but your character, your nature is not, right? Which one are you leaning more towards, or do you have a good balance? I'd love to know in the comments. Okay, let me know. And so most of the people I meet are actually in the place where they desire good character, good nature. They want to be, but the competence. So, for example, as a coach, it's not just enough that, okay, God's called Joseph to be a coach and he has a good heart. He loves people. He wants the best for people. That it's not just I have to be good at what I do. I've had to become better and better and better as a coach. I study up on it. I spend time with him on it. I learn, I practice, I do it to be better. Right? There was a time where my coaching was happening a lot, 1-to-1. 1-to-1. The first person I ever coached was me. And then I started to coach 1 and then 2. And now it's moved into bigger numbers. And I can only do that because my competence increased, right? So I'd love to know, where are you? Character, nature, and competence. So some people don't consider either. And for some people, walking with God is just like, I don't know what they do. Like, it's just prayer time for what? There's a lot of purposelessness. There's a lot of aimlessness, right? Like James talks about shadow boxing. There's a lot of shadow boxing that happens in most people's lives, especially if you are a doer, if you are a hearer and not a doer, right? James talks about how you're deceiving yourself because you love learning and hearing, but you never do anything about it. You're deceiving yourself. You're a shadow boxer. And most people's Christian walk is shadow boxing. It's a lot of like, they're in the same problems, same cycles. Their life never changes. Nobody gets influenced. The kingdom of God has not yet been allowed to make its way through their heart so it can make its way through their hands. Are you with me? The kingdom of God has not infiltrated their heart, infiltrated their head, so it can't infiltrate what they do with their hands. So you don't want to have that kind of a walk with God. Walking with God, the creator of the universe, walking with your king, being empowered by Holy Spirit looks like something. It causes something. There is a ripple effect. Okay, so this judgment conversation, as I talk to people about what's the dream in your heart, and it's like, oh, I know there's a book in me. I know that there is a tribe of ladies I'm called to, a tribe of guys I'm called to. I know that I was born for more. I know that I should be, releasing a podcast or starting this coaching thing, but who's going to listen to me? Who would even want to read my book? Where would I even start? What would I even do? And so many of these questions, as I start to unpack with people, come back to, but what are people going to think about me? What are people going to say about me? What if I say the wrong thing? A lot of believers are stuck on that. What if I say the wrong thing? What if my theology is wrong? How many of you know what I'm saying? What if I do something and I end up looking foolish, right? What if I charge people money, and because I charge them money, they're going to think certain things about me? When I tell people I'm not your pastor, some people just don't know how to compute. Like this here is not, that we love to separate things. Like in churchianity and Christianity, we like to separate things. Like you have your God life, and then you have your real life. You have your Christian life, and then you have your business life. But in the kingdom, everything's under the same umbrella. I can't run my business separate to how I run a ministry, right? And what's happened is there are a lot of people who run their ministry how the world runs its business. And we have seen that, which is, but if you're in the kingdom, everything is in the kingdom. Everything is under that umbrella. Everything has the same heartbeat. And so what I'm doing online here, some people like to say, ministry. And some people say coaching business. I don't care what you call it. It's all the same thing. It is as sacred to me. The coaching element is as sacred as if I was preaching from a pulpit. There is no reduction in how sacred the space is. So if you are a real estate agent, if you are a quilt designer, if you are a therapist, if you are an anesthetist, if you are whatever you are, there is no separation between that and if you were ministering from your pulpit. If you think there is a separation, you might need to recheck where God is in your life, because God is in the whole picture. God is in the whole picture. So what I'm doing on here, when I would charge for a coaching program, I've had so many people have judgments on that. Why do you charge and why don't you give it for free? And so I've had people judge me over and over and over and over again, right? I've had people judge me on why do you have dreads, or why don't you dye your beard black, and why do you talk about these subjects? Why don't you don't be so much like that? And what you're going to find is in life, everybody has a judgment. Everybody is making judgments. Everybody has an opinion. So do you. And so before we even go deeper there, let's hit a reality check, right? What are some reality checks? Number one, okay, you have judgments and opinions over everybody. Whether you realize it or not, you're constantly, like there are things I'm saying now, you're going to have an opinion on it. You're going to judge it, right? We do it too. You do it too. Is that number two? Every person on this planet is not going to love you. Every person on this planet does not love you, does not like you. And this is something that some people find so hard to grasp. So let me hit you with that first. I don't care how amazing you think you are, right? And I know some of you guys, so I know you are amazing. But I don't care how beautiful you think you are, or handsome you think you are, or how good-natured you think you are, how amazing you are. There is somebody on the planet already who doesn't love you, who doesn't like you. I'll just burst that bubble. So let's start there. There are already people. Some people think when I write that book, then some people are going to read it, or some people are going to hear about it and not like me. No. When I start their business, some people are not going to like me. No. There are already. Some of you have people in your own family. Let's burst this bubble. That don't like you. And some of you don't even like yourself. Let's burst that bubble. Some of you don't even like yourself. And that might be something you want to explore. But there are already people that don't like you. Let us start there, okay? And that's okay. How are you going to run around telling people that they should love you and not have an opinion of you? And how are you going to, if I force somebody to like me, to love me, is that really love? If I'm forcing people to love me, is that love? That's not love. Are you getting what I'm saying here? So we got to establish this. Everybody has judgments. Everyone has opinions. And there are already people that don't like you. Some of you guys that really freak out about this, you need to allow this reality to kick in, and it might cause a reaction. Because you might be like, oh my gosh, what do you mean? The people that don't like me? Yeah, there are people already that don't like you, and they don't even know why. There are people that don't like Mother Teresa. I'm pretty sure most people on this call here would like Mother Teresa. There are people that don't like Nelson Mandela. There are people that don't like, I don't know, you name any good person, William Wilberforce, right? There are people that don't like people that you and I look at and go, wow, you're amazing. There are people that don't like them. There are people that don't like Jesus. And that's really the mic drop there, is that there are people that don't like the man that lived a sinless life, pure love, came to serve, and then died on the cross for every person. And there are people that don't like him. Are you with me? So you need to come to terms with, actually, there are already people that don't like me. Before we go deeper, you need to come to terms with that. There are already people that don't like me, and I don't understand it. Do you need to understand it? Why do you need to go down that path? Right? Now that you know there are people that don't like you already, we can have this conversation. So what is the real root problem? The root cause? Well, if I do this thing and they see me like that and they misunderstand me, that's one of them. If they misunderstand me, if I mess up, the fear of messing up, right? FOMO, the fear of failure. People don't fear actual failure. People fear what's happening because of failure. People's real fear, the real anxiety is, if I run and fall on my face, what are they going to think about me? No one actually fears the failure. No one fears, like people say, the fear of man. You don't have a fear of man. If you had a fear of man, you'd be by yourself in the corner, huddled up in your house and never leave your home. You don't have a fear of man. Are you with me? So we create these terms, nice little cages, and we sit in there and we want regular feeding like an animal in the zoo. You don't fear man. You have a husband, you have a wife, you have children, you have friends, you have work colleagues. If you feared man, you wouldn't be there. So we got to get real about what's the real problem. I don't fear man. You walk around, you go to the gas station, you catch buses, you hang out in offices, you go to churches, you don't fear man. What is the fear? It's their opinion, right? So you want to start to become good at asking questions that make you go down to the root of things. So fear of failure, fear of success, fear of messing up, the fear of man, all of these actually come back to what are they going to think about me? And then we can go a little deeper than that, right? Because usually when you ask, what are they going to think about me? What if I look like a fool, right? What if I, don't do it the right way? Da, 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 da. If you keep zoning in, then it comes back to what are they going to think about me? And then what if they don't like me? What if they don't like me? They're not going to like me. Like, why is it a problem if someone misunderstands me? If they misunderstand me, they're not going to like me. What if they don't like the jacket or what I'm saying? What if they don't like me? And when you come into, well, why do you need them to like you? Why do you need them to like you? Well, because I want people to love me. I want people to like me because when they do that, I feel valued. I get my value. I feel valued when people like me. So whenever I'm in a situation where it might cause someone to misunderstand me or cause me to look kind of silly or do something different or stand out or whatever, succeed too much or fail too much, whatever it is, and they don't like me, I now feel like I am not valued. I am not worth it. And because I am not valued or worth it, I am not loved. There is something wrong with me, or I am not enough. I am not good enough. I'm not enough as a person. And you start to see that we have attached our value to all these things. Now, some people will say to me, nah, but I'm great. That's not me, But upon inspection, now even someone as a coach for years putting content out online, I regularly have to go deeper on this because upon inspection, what I'm telling you, you cannot see upon observation. There has to be an inspection. And for an inspection, there's good questions that you got to ask yourself, right? So what happens when you tell the truth to yourself? You make yourself free. The minute you realize, oh, I give a lot of value to what they think of me, I give a lot of value to what other people think of me, you now have the opportunity to change that narrative. But the bottom line always comes down to value, being affirmed in your value, feeling loved, and feeling worth it. And it will sound different because there's all these other languages. You can use all these other terms. One of the things that I catch people going over is a BS thought loop, a bologna sandwich thought loop, right? They ask good questions and they're coming to the root. And then instead of asking the next question to find the root and rip it out, they go back to another thing and they just keep going round and round and round and round and round. And so you want to now start to ask yourself good questions as to, even today, as you go about the day, why you don't do some of the things that you know. Holy Spirit's calling you to do, God's calling you to do, all right? You know that it's in there, something to release. Some people don't realize, like I stopped writing, I stopped dancing, I stopped painting, I didn't pursue my creative dream, I didn't leave my job and start a business, I didn't publicly tell people stuff, right? I've met people that are like, I'm scared I really want to let people know what I'm doing, but I'm scared because if it looks like I'm doing really well, they're going to judge me. They're going to judge me. When you start sharing your job or whatever you do, first time you go on social media to release a word or release thoughts or whatever, I'm scared because they're going to judge me. Right? Why did filters become so popular? Because if I just put myself out there just like this without all these filters, I might not look as good. And if I don't look as good, they're going to think I'm not as good. They're going to judge me. Are you with me? And so you want to start asking this questions around, well, why is that a problem? Why am I worried about that? Why does this matter? To go down to your root. to go down to your root. You know what people say? Oh, well, it's just their opinion. Who cares? If that really worked, if it was that easy, do you know what the world would be like right now? There is so much genius hidden within people, genius hidden within the body of Christ that has not seen the light of day, that has not seen manifestation because of what we're talking about. If it was as easy as, well, just, they have an opinion, get over it and go for it. If it was that easy, the world would be different right now. And so learning how to ask these questions for yourself, as a coach, I've learned I can only take people where they want to go. And in my early days, I thought it was my job to help people see something that was really blatant to me, but it was almost invisible to them because they were so wrapped up in it that they couldn't see how much they're getting their value from this. I watched, so I've put out content for maybe 4 years, 5 years, like intensely, 3 to 5 years intensely. And I've been doing stuff for longer than that with my fitness business content, all that kind of stuff. And I've watched people take my content and take other people's content, right? And there's nothing wrong in that. So wait till I get to the end of this, but take content and pass it off as if they own and share it because they like the theory economy. Theory economy, like, let me sound like I know what I'm talking about. Let me sound like I have principles. This is why principle-based people will get a lot of people following them and become successful in this realm. But the principle doesn't mean you have the position. Principles are taught and learned. Position is experienced. It's experience. So I've watched people that share things as principle. Why do they do that? Why do people take my stuff or take other people's stuff and share it like it's their own? Share it like they really, without living it. And that's my real problem, is if you're going to share other people's stuff, share it. If you're going to share it as your own, that's between you and God. You can do that. Like, I don't care when people share my stuff. The thing I care about is, do you live this? Do you live this? Or are you sharing it as a principle? Because if I share it as a principle, the only way someone can receive it is as a principle. And so all I have to give is a principle. I can instruct on a principle. I can't impart from position. Are you with me? So why do people like to use things and share things of other people to look a certain way? So that people will like them. So that people will like what they say. Right? Social media is a great example of what I'm talking about, because most people post what they think other people are going to like. They don't post what's really going on for them. Most people don't post their reality. They post in a way that they're like, who's going to like this? Based on that, I will post this. Oh, what are they going to like? Well, if I say that, it's too much. But if I don't, da, da, da. Do you know how many most pastors live in that space? They post from what is a good thing to say. What is a good thing to sound? Right? And people are scared to tell their truth because they're scared of what? Being judged. Being judged. Do they have value? A lot of people have no real, like, their value is based on the last thing they posted, right? Or their value is their last gifting that they released, or their last product, or their last whatever, last launch, how much money they made in their last launch. So a lot of people, that's the heart. Are you with me? And you don't realize, so you could go 20, 30 years doing ministry and just pleasing, and just so that you will not be judged. And here is Jesus, thousands of people following him, and he's like, eat my flesh, drink my blood. I already know you're going to judge me. I already know you're going to leave me, but I don't care. I'm going to live from who I am, not from what you think. And so many people live from what other people think. If there are pings going off in you, can you let me know in the comments, right? Whose opinions have stopped you? Whose opinions have halted you? Whose opinions have put a full stop in your sentence, right? Who's handcuffed you and chained you to a place, to your present or to your past, right? Because of the opinions of other people. So when I watch people who deal in the theory economy, let me tell you what a theory economy is. Theory economy is like this. Theory economy is, I learned something in the Bible. I don't necessarily care about living it, but I'm going to teach it because it sounds amazing. And most of the systems of the church are like that, because what do? You study for a sermon. The real sermon in your life is your life, right? The real sermon in your life is your wife, your kids, or your husband, what's going on in your home. That's the real sermon. What you're like with your neighbors, what you do in your daily life. But they study 5 days, 6 days for a sermon to come and present the sermon with great illustrations to make it for what? To sound amazing. Are you with me? Theory economy. Let me share with you a principle that you don't care if I'm living. I don't care if you're living. I just want to know that you think it's amazing. All right, let me give you another example of theory economy. Theory economy, right, is all the theoretical stuff, is like I go to a 5-day life coaching certification. I go to a 2-day life coaching certification. I do a 2-day diploma in personal training. These are all available, by the way, right? This is all the theory economy. And so now I can go into a gym and start training people because for 2 days, I learned some words and I have a diploma, I have a certification, and now I'm the man. Theory economy. Oh, I became a life coach because I did 5 days of theory. I didn't change anybody's life. I've not coached anybody. I didn't start and move people anywhere, but I just did the theory. And now because I did the theory, I know the 5 steps to a perfect life. I don't even live those 5 steps, but I'm going to teach you. Because when I teach you, you're going to think I'm amazing. And when you think I'm amazing, I feel valued. I feel loved. I feel great. Theory economy. Theory economy is you go to school, you learn these subjects, a lot that you're never going to use. Then you go to university, right? And you learn. You don't do. You learn, and you get a degree, right? Or you get a double degree, or you get PhD, whatever it is. But you get these pieces of paper that say you're amazing. Theory economy. But you know what happens when you go get a job? Using the same theory papers, you go get a job. What happens when you walk in there? They start you at the bottom, and now you got to train. And you're like, well, what do you mean train? I've just been studying all this. No. You learn all the stuff, but you don't know it. You learn what it is to an extent, but you don't know it. You are not actually competent. All the knowledge is in you as potential, but it hasn't produced. It hasn't become kinetic. Theory economy, right? So when you get a job, they still train you. They still put you at this lower level and you got to work your way out. Because they know it's theory. We don't know if it works in practice. Are you with me? Theory economy. So most of Christianity likes to be in theory economy. Theory economy. Like people don't really go, oh, I wonder how you live. Let me do life with you. Why do you think so many leaders are scared to let people do life with them? They don't let people in their house. They don't want to go to people's houses. They don't spend too much time, right? They have a 30-minute cutoff. I know people like that. It's like, oh, what, 30 minutes? All right, then. I know we're in between a heart-to-heart right now, but it's 30 minutes. I got to go. We'll catch up another time. Goodbye. And they set all these boundaries. You know why they set the boundaries? So that they don't be seen, to protect themselves. Do you know when love sets boundaries, it's not to protect self. When love sets boundaries, it is to protect the relationship. It is to protect the other person. It's not to protect self. Jesus says to the disciples, I have many things to say to you, but you cannot bear it right now. What is that? He's not protecting himself. He's protecting them. He's like, I don't want to say things and open things up that you don't have the capacity to handle right now. True love sets boundaries for the relationship and for others, not for self. Are you with me? Insecurities set boundaries for yourself. So if you're a principle person, you'll talk about boundaries and setting good boundaries and never but it's all to protect yourself. If you're a position person and you know that you are in Jesus and he's in you, you don't set boundaries to protect yourself. You set boundaries to protect what's happening and to protect the other person. Like I set boundaries with people to protect other people. I'd say to people, I can't meet you there. I can't talk to you much because I know I'm going to let you down if I promise this and I can't deliver. Are you with me? So the judgment conversation, it goes much deeper than people realize because everything you're doing in life is being affected by this judgment. There are so many marriages that go to custard. Why? Because when people start courting and dating, they do all this faking. Why do people fake? Because I'm scared for you to see the real me. Why am I scared that you'll see the real me? Because if you see me, you won't like me. You will judge me. You'll have an opinion of me. And if you don't like me, then I'm not valued. So people date and they present each other the perfect each other. And you know what? It's a natural thing. And a year or two into the marriage, now the marriage starts to peel these layers. And it's like people go, oh my gosh, I didn't even know who he really was. I didn't even realize she was like that, because we present like that. Are you with me? The judgment thing is affecting so many areas of our lives. So you want to be able to start asking this question here. What am I putting my value to? What am I choosing to affirm me? Why am I letting other people's opinions give me value and affirm me? Why am I letting other people's stuff affect where I go, what I do, who I go with? You got to hear what I'm saying? All right. All of you have already been judged. There are people that already don't like you. There are people that do like you. There are people that have opinions of you, and it's going to carry on. There are people that have all of this on me, and it's going to carry on. But I get to choose, do I want to let your judgment, your opinion, give me value? Do I want to let your appraisal tell me who I really am? Do I want to give you the power? Are you getting what I'm saying? So a lot of connections are made because of the theory economy, right? Like, I don't want to bunny trail too much here, but let me say this. Most of the church circles, right? Most of the churchianity circles, I will not be welcome. It's not a space that would be great for me, because I am going to ask for results. Like if you go to a business and the business says we're successful, I will say, oh, how much money are you making? That is the purpose of the business. You're serving people and you have a profit, right? You're making a net profit. If you're serving people and you're doing a good job serving people, but you're not making any money, maybe you call yourself a charity. You're not a business. But if you're a business, yeah, you're serving people, but the bottom line is you're making money. You have good value for people. You have good customers. You take good care of them, but you have a profit, a net profit. Not even gross profit, a net profit. So if I come to a church, I have to ask, if you're a successful church, what do you base that on? And the only basis that you can really look at when you go back to scripture and Jesus is like, go make disciples of all nations, I have to come back to, do you make disciples? Are you making disciples? So what a lot of churches do is they try and plant churches, and they plant 1 or 2 or 3 churches, but Jesus never said go plant churches. He said go make disciples. So if I go to a place and I ask for results, people hate this because now we have a reality check. So theory economy, they really hate the results economy. See, when I'm coaching people, it takes longer for me to see breakthrough, but I love seeing breakthrough. That's why I share their breakthrough. She didn't just do coaching with me and like it and feel like dandelions. No, she did coaching with me and her relationship with herself changed. She lost 9 kgs. She launched a book. She's now more confident. Her marriage is getting better. Her relationship with everyone's getting better. That there, results economy. But people are stuck on the theory economy. Are you getting what I'm saying? Okay. So now that we understand, well, I don't want to let you give me value, let your opinion give me value. Is there space? Is there space for other people to give you feedback? Is there space for other people to for you to allow them to value you a little bit? Yes, there is. So why? Let me talk about that. So I will always let God judge me. Now, some people get really freaked out at this word judge, right? Because they're still stuck at like, well, I judge you good and bad. And if I judge you bad, oh, you're so bad. And if I judge you good, for me, I like to relate to God, not as a judge, like an earthly judge who's just sitting there between right and wrong and has no heart. I can't do that. If God is known as the Father, then I got to go, my Father is also a judge. I can't go, the judge is my Father. There are differences here, okay? When I say my Father is the creator of the universe, is God, is holy, is the judge, right? My Father is very different to the judge is my Father. The creator is my Father. God is my Father. It's very different. Now, why do I start with Father? Because Jesus said that. And as far as where I'm at right now in my life, that's what the disciples say, Jesus, teach us how to pray. And he said, start with this, our Father. You better start with your position because he is creator. He is holy. He is all these things. But if you don't know your position, if you don't know who he is to you, you are going to try and be the best that a judge needs and the best that this needs and that needs. And you're never going to know for sure where you stand. I need you to start with our Father. Know where you stand. Hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done. I will bow to you. But you better know he's a dad. Are you with me? So judgment is not a bad thing. It's a great thing when it's done righteously, when it's done from God. Judgment is actually his mercy. When you judge something, it is to make it better. It is to improve it. It is to realign it. Judgment is not to condemn. There is no condemnation in Jesus. Are you with me? But there is judgment. So if judgment was supposed to be to condemn you, Jesus couldn't judge things, but he judged a lot of things. He's still judging. He will judge. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. So you can't be afraid of judgment. So I value God's judgment, Holy Spirit's judgment, Jesus' judgment. I value that over me. I receive that judgment. I have that conversation because that judgment is not if you were judged wrong, you're out. That judgment is a refining, a realigning, a bringing me back, a remembering, a rewiring to my original intent. So I decided a while ago that that's the judgment that's going to matter the most. Now, if you can settle that in your heart, then when I get judgments from other people, I bring them here and I go, does that line up with his judgment? Not really. It's actually quite opposite. Okay, well, I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let that go. Does this line up with his judgment? Does this opinion line up with his judgment, with his opinion? And whenever anything doesn't line up with God, that can go. That is the first thing that I will say to you that you can do now, is when you grab these judgments and opinions, all right, first, before this, you got to tell the truth. Tell the truth, because some of you don't realize you give all your value to your husband, to your wife, to your mom, to your dad, to all these people that you think are going to appraise you. And here is God, who sent his son to die for you, who made you, who knows you better than anybody else, all right, who knows your divine design, and he has already appraised you away in a certain way. He has already judged you. Why would you look at anybody else's opinion or judgment above his? Are you with me? And so you make that the root judgment that matters, because it does matter. There are people that then go, well, I'm free from judgment, so I'll never check myself. I'll never see if what I'm doing is right. I can never be wrong. There are heaps of people like that. And it's like, yeah, well, all the best. You want to live like that? That is great. All the best. But you can get things wrong, and their judgments will protect you. Are you with me? It's a form of his mercy. So I do that. Then I have people in my life, right? One is my wife. Why do I let her into that space where her judgment, her opinion matters? Because she is doing life with me. She has laid her life down as I have laid my life down, and we do life together. So it matters to me, right? So when you allow people to put judgments and opinions and criticism, you need to take these things into account. The first thing I take into account here is she for me? Is he for me? Are they for me? If they're not for me, why would I take that into account? Because even though they're saying the right thing by principle, they don't care about the heart connection. So now the principle is tainted because it has their agenda. Are you with me? When people live by principles, it's great and they work and they can share it in the theory economy. But their heart can be whatever they want, and they are the agenda driving people there. Are you with me? The agenda could be totally messed up, even though the principle is right. So I will let my wife speak into that because she chose me. She loves me. We're walking together. So if she ever has a judgment opinion where, honey, I didn't like that, or man, I take that seriously. And then I have a few others, right? I have a few others like my dad, right? I have a few others like, and it's not my dad because he's my blood dad. He's my dad because I've lived with him and I know his heart for me. You get what I'm saying, right? There are a few people here like my wife's parents, right? I take what they say very seriously. I have a few people up and down the country, a couple from overseas, right? These men, some women that I'm like, oh, because I know you chose me, I am happy to receive your judgment. You get what I'm saying? Because your judgment is like my Father's judgment. It has an original intent, and your judgment's intent is to bring the best out of me. Your judgment's intent is to realign me, rewire me to my original intent. Your judgment's intent matches my Father's judgment's intent, so I'm happy to receive. Are you with me? And so there are people that I receive from. So everybody likes to give you criticism. Like you post something, people want to give you criticism. I don't take people's criticism. Why would I? I don't even know whether you're for me. I don't even know what your agenda is, right? So at the first base layer, I look at all of that. Our connection, why are you doing this? Why are you saying that? So a lot of trolls because you get trolls when you start doing stuff online. They just come to slur and throw things and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, goodbye. Yeah, block. Thank you. Later. Then there are some people who bring really good points. And I look at, do we have a connection? Do we have, do you care? And if you don't, I still look at your principal criticism, but I don't take it from you. I take what you're saying back to those who walk with me, and I take what you're saying first to God, who matters most, and then the people, but I don't take it from you. I take what you're saying and I make it our thing. It's not you're now in my thing. Are you with me? And this is a real important one, because you'll get some really good criticism from people that are not too close to you. So you're going to have to learn how to separate the principle, the criticism, take it and bring it into your safe circle, your inner circle with God and some people, not all people, and work it out there. But you can take it but you're not taking it with them. Maybe let me say it that way. You're not taking it with them. You're not bringing them into the circle. But what they're saying, because they could be saying it from a wrong place. Some of the people who've said things to me from a wrong place have helped me upgrade the most, right? But they couldn't walk me through it because they didn't care. They said it to damage me, but when it came out as a principle, it actually helped me. They said it to push me down, but it actually propelled me because I'm able to separate that. Are you getting what I'm saying? So you got to be able to separate and understand, this principle thing and position thing. So the people who have a position in my life, they get to say things and we walk it out as we work it out. But you who have a principle but not a position, I'll take the principle, but you're not in position. So we don't talk about it. I'm not going to talk to you about it. I had this lady start emailing me during one of my courses and saying all kinds of stuff to me about me. And the thing is, I know she is gifted, but I also know she's an orphan. And there's nothing more dangerous than a gifted orphan. Okay? Because a gifted orphan runs around doing whatever they want, and they're using the gift, the call of God that's irrevocable, and they cause a lot of damage. So she's saying things to me that I'm like, man, there's some truth here, but it's mixed with an agenda that I can't walk with her on this. Eventually, I had to block her because it got so toxic. She really wanted to be in my circle because she could see me saying, I like what you're saying, right? But we're not talking about this. I'll keep that. But she was like, no, but I got to be in that. Are you with me? Now, I might be going too deep here, bunny trailing in all these ways, but as someone who gives counsel, it's important for me to know where I'm sharing principle, and I don't have position. So I don't take position. Like online, when people ask me, what do you think about this, Joseph? What do you think about that? I share principle, but I don't have position. So I'm not going to walk it out with you. So this lady wanted to walk it out with me. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. You're not in my inner circle. I love what you're sharing. There is some truth to it, but I'm not letting you in here. And she couldn't comprehend that because she thought, because she can see something, she's going to be in it. It doesn't work like that. And here, there's a problem with social media is everyone's like, well, I can see this, so let me tell them about it. But because I'm telling them about it, they better receive it from me and walk with me and work with me. It doesn't work like that. Position, principle. This is why I'm more interested in those that are becoming than those that know. I know a lot of people that know, but their life has no fruit. When you become, fruit is a byproduct, right? Abide in the vine and you will bear fruit. It's easy. So people that don't bear fruit, I know they've never become. They've never attached to the vine. They don't want to become. They just want to know. And when you know, you share what you know, and they share what you know and share what you know. And it's like, do you get what I'm saying here? You understand what I'm saying? So you want to make sure, number one, God is the one, his judgment, his opinion matters most. He made me. He laid his life down for me. Submission is a byproduct to his love, right? Number two, there are people that have a position in my life because they love me. They've chosen me. They've proved it. The actions show it, not their words. The actions show it. So I let them into a space where they can say things to me and walk things out with me because I know that their end outcome is betterment for me. Are you getting what I'm saying? So I pull them in. So criticism is great. Now, when I get criticism from people that don't have the position, they could be speaking the truth, but I'm not going to let them in to walk it out with me. But I'll take the principle because it's going to make me better. If you become one that's like, no criticism, I don't care about criticism, like people that go, I'm blocking out the haters. Like, no, some of these haters are going to make you better. The hater makes you better because they trigger you, and the trigger makes you bigger. You got to hear what I'm saying? So you can't run from this. Jesus didn't run from the haters. Do you understand what I'm saying? So in the little post that I made about this podcast today, I talked about how I deal with criticism, how I deal with haters, and how I deal with trolls. And I separate haters and trolls, okay? Because a troll, the troll's only goal is to throw crap. They have no interest. A hater usually is brewing hate from their own dysfunction. A troll is even unaware of their dysfunction. You get what I'm saying? So there are people that criticize. You go further down the bridge, they're haters because they don't know how to even share their dysfunction, right? But they have it in them and they know it's there somewhere. And then they're trolls. Trolls don't even know they have dysfunction. Trolls don't even know they're so messed up because it's so painful for them. They're way down somewhere. Are you with me? So I have learned when people comment and say things, right? My first Pursue on Purpose challenge, I had this guy come and comment on one of my videos and he's like, oh, you're a pedophile. Are you with me? And I'm like, a pedophile? Like, how do you get that? Is it my man bun? What made you look at my video talking about purpose and say, this guy's a pedophile? Are you with me? So then I commented back to ask, hey man, I'd love to know why you think I'm a pedophile. And the guy's response is, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't believe that you actually responded to me. I'm so sorry, da da da. I'm like, bro, you can't be running around saying all this stuff. I'm a real person. Are you with me? So my desire to converse ended that subject. Now, some people say, just block. I don't like to block. Why? Because there is opportunity in every interaction. And I have set some things in place to keep me safe, but also to bring about restoration, reconciliation, redemption, because that's the heart of my Father. So when someone messages me something, I like to go one or two, right? I'd like to put back some questions and converse. And if they can't go further, we're done. I'm out. And I've had to learn that the hard way. You with me? Because not everybody wants to go further. So you want to learn and set in place, what do you do when you get criticism? And I gave you some good strategies here. What do you do when you get haters, right? People that blatantly say some stuff. And then when you get trolls, and trolls say ridiculous things, right? Learning how to set some protocols in place for you. Massive, okay? But this conversation on they're going to judge me, what if I get it wrong? What are they going to say? It always comes back, the root cause to, I want to be valued. I want to be loved. And I've just given all these people this power to judge me. You know, when I'm training coaches or leaders who are going to post content online, right? This is the biggest fear, is that if I put out an invite and I invite people into coaching and nobody responds, oh, I'm going to look like such a fool. What? Who cares? Do you understand? But if I look like a fool, that means I am a fool. See how much value we put? Why do we put so much value to what Cousin Susie, or not even Cousin Susie, but like, Green Pants 99. I don't know what names you're going to have, like at Blessed Life, at Revival Center, Blessed Life person, at Surrender to God, at Holy Daughter of God, or Warrior, I don't know, fill in the blank, whatever their handle is, whatever their username is. Why do we give so much power to some person on the other side of the planet who has no care, no concept, no understanding? Why would I give them so much power to rob me of my life, where I don't put out a piece of content or don't share my heart because they're going to say something? It's crazy. It's crazy. You got to hear what I'm saying. So if you have family that want to speak into your life, ask them if they have the position in your life. If they don't have the position in your life, ask them if they want it. If they want it, you must work on that first. I've had people that I've coached and their relatives, their relatives, like the mom or the brother or the dad, they want to tell me how to run what I do. I'm like, excuse me, I don't know you. Who are you? If you are going to tell me how I should do things, well, I don't know how you do things. So why would I listen to you? People get angry when people listen to some people of influence. Now, let me separate this, okay? Influence and fame, very different. You can become famous by going outside and doing something stupid and smacking your head on the ground. 3 million people are going to follow you and they're going to know your name, but they're not going to take advice from you. Fame and influence are not the same, okay? A lot of them will follow you because they think you're a fool and they want to see you keep getting hurt. Are you with me? And people do crazy things for fame because they think it's influence. Anyway, that's another conversation. The influence is that when I say something, it has the power and the ability and the weight to change how you do something. It has the power to bring about a new way, a new effect. So what I've had a lot in my life is people come to me and they say, why don't you speak to her? Why don't you speak to him? Hey, can you tell this person this? And I'm like, hold on a second. Why are you coming to me to tell this person that? Oh, because when you say, they listen. Ah, interesting. Don't you want to know why they listen when I say, but don't listen when you say? Oh, no. You get what I'm saying here? And there are a lot of people that want to pass on, but they don't have the position. They don't have the position in someone's life, in people's lives. So you might be that person, you give all this advice and it's great. You wonder why no one's listening. You don't have the position in their life yet. So if you have family members that want to do all that, make sure that they also want to have position first. They want to have position first. My wife will listen to anything I have to say because she's already seen that I will die for her. I have the position long before I shared any principles. In fact, my first years of marriage were less about me sharing principles and more about me demonstrating position and laying my life down for her. They came to a point where she started asking me about principles. So you want influence in people's lives? Lay your life down and let your principles be demonstrated through your position. And people will start asking you for counsel. All right, some of you have great principles. You have great things to share that could change people's lives, but you don't have the influence because you don't have the position yourself. You don't have it here or you don't have it there. Are you with me? So you need the position. I'm just going to quickly answer some questions. If you got any more questions specifically to you, please hit me up. When you say judgment, are you referring to other people's opinions? Yes. So all opinions come with some form of a judgment, right? So I'm putting them both together. When you make a judgment about something, you have an opinion. You have an opinion of it, and sometimes you can feel like you really know somebody, but nobody really knows where someone's at till you're in deep relationship with them, right? So yes, I'm putting them both together. There's a slight difference between the two, but they usually go together. All right, where's this other one? I internally judge people who overshare their life in social media. Very good point. Okay, let me share this here. Hopefully you don't mind me sharing this now. Let me talk about this, okay? If I constantly judge others, and I'm not saying you do that, by the way, I'm just using the comment, right? I internally judge people who overshare their life. There is somewhere a truth to what I'm doing with you, I'm doing with me. When I meet people that condemn everyone all the time, I know, man, you live in condemnation. When I meet people that are rude to people all the time, always judging what they do, always checking their motives. I meet some religious people that their whole idea is, are you doing it right? Are you doing it right, brother? But did you pray enough? I know that that's how they live. They live like that. They live in that space of internal judgment. So as you start to set yourself free from constantly judging you and how much you're sharing, as I started to set myself free from the need of other people's judgment, right? I automatically set other people free from my judgment because I stopped judging them because I understood it differently. Are you with me? So hopefully that's going to help some of you. As you release yourself, you start releasing others. It all goes together. Yeah. Okay, here's another good one. Man, this is bringing up some stuff for me. I recall instances where I've said something which I was so sure was right, but a little offhand comment from someone made me wonder, is that really right? Right? I'm starting to see a pattern here with how I do other things too. Great. I'm glad you're seeing that. Now, let me talk about this. Some people are like, if I put something out there, it might be wrong. Like me, I put some things out here, it might be wrong. Do you know what I'm going to do when it turns out to be wrong? I come back on here and I'm like, hey, that thing that I said then, I believe this thing. And now I've seen in the Bible, like, actually, that's not quite right. So let me correct that and let's carry on. Now, here's the thing is that people go, if you get it wrong, you should be whipped and you should be kicked out and never allowed online again. These stupid rules that people make and try and live by, I don't want to live by those, right? So I'm happy to share where I'm at. This is the truth. And there are some things like if I share a fact that is wrong, I'm happy to correct it. I'll give you an example, okay? I shared about the vaccine stuff that was going on. There was a story about somebody who had some vaccine damage, whatever. I shared it on my story and somebody responded back to me going, you shouldn't spread so much hate, This article has turned out to be fake or a hoax or whatever. It's satire. It's not really true. So my very next post was actually a screenshot of my interaction with this person. I put it out there and I'm like, oh, it's come to my attention that post could be a hoax or could be. I don't know if it is. This person is convinced it is. So I'm going to put all the information out there. You make up your own mind. But I'm recorrecting what I thought was 100%. It's not 100%. And put it out there and let it go. Are you with me? So some of you guys, when you put stuff out and people say da-da-da, you're open to change if you got it wrong. But your value, if I get my value from being right, do you know how scared I am to be wrong? If I get my value from having it all together, do you know how scared I am to let my real, where I'm at really, to let that show? If I get my value from how perfect I am and how perfect you think I am, do you know how scared I am to show you any issue, any insecurity? One of the things I love doing in my coaching is sharing my own examples, right? I'm not some perfect being because I have a mic and some people listen. That's the funniest thing, is that when we see some people with bigger followings or even preachers, like, oh yeah, they studied the word. Yeah, but you're not perfect. They're not perfect. But we play these games. You can't go down. When you get your value from other people's opinions, it's a slippery slope because you're like a hamster on the wheel. You're like a clown in the circus and you keep performing for the applause. And the circus sucks. And many pastors realized it's a circus and they had no one to talk to and they committed suicide. In the last 3 to 5 years, you will see the statistic is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Okay, so we got to stop the circus stuff. Why is it in our nature to judge people? Is it to make them feel better? No, I think the original intent of judgment and the original intent of having an opinion is, one, when I have opinions, right, it separates me from other people. So it actually helps me have a unique expression. It helps my expression of my unique divine nature be separated. One of the ways that you are separated from others is you think differently. That's awesome. It's a good thing, right? So it's not the tool. It's not the mechanics that's the problem. It's the heart that's driving the mechanics. Are you with me? It's my ability to have different opinions that lets me compliment you. Because I have an opinion, I can say you're amazing. Because I have an opinion, I can say you are beautiful, right? Because I have this righteous, you call it righteous, but let's just say judgment, this ability to judge things and compare things. People say comparison is the thief of all joy. Yeah, in a way it is. But actually, comparison has an original intent. Comparison helps you actually see things beautifully. I've done a video on that. You can search that comparison. But so everything has an original intent. So even your opinion and your judgment has an original intent. It helps you make good decisions. So you looking at somebody and being able to see, right? When you are in right standing, what is righteousness? Righteousness, dikaion. Righteousness is your position. It is a legal term for a position. Righteousness is not I do good things and I'm sitting in the good chair. Righteousness is your position in God, and you're there because of what Jesus did. So you are the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. That righteousness, when I understand that, I'm able to let all my judgments come from that place, not from my insecurities, my fear, my issues. Are you with me? So the more you're able to sit in that righteousness and understand it, and the more you're able to break free of other people's opinions and let it come from source, the more you start doing it with other people too. So judgment is not a bad thing. When I'm walking with people and coaching and we go deeper, there is judgment in there. But Jesus puts a really beautiful parable or a really good example, allegory or metaphor of where, don't look at the speck in your brother's eye or your sister's eye and ignore the log in your own. We got people walking around with their logs and their logs are smacking all these people, but they find a little speck in someone else and they start drilling them on it. What happens when I see the logs in my own eye is that when I learn how to take them out, because you can't yank a log out. When I learn how to take the log out and it's painful and I'm crying and I've learned how to take something out, I develop compassion and empathy. And now when I see your speck, I know what it feels like. When I see your speck that to you is a log, because you're closer to it than anybody else, I know what it feels like. So I can assist you. I can make a good judgment and help you get the speck out, which is a log to you, but it's always a speck to me. Because you're closer to it than I'll ever be. But I'm able to, in love and sympathy and empathy, help you pull that out. So judgment is not wrong, right? Where you're doing it from and why you're doing it decides whether it's wrong. Are you with me? So there's a lot of judgments that the Bible talks about. But when you don't understand the heart of God behind it, you just look at the judgment and you try and judge that judgment without having his heart. Like my children, they cry sometimes because I take things away. They can't have it. It's a consequence of some things that they've done. And sometimes they can't keep having something because it's bad for them. So when I take it away, or when I say, no, you can't have some more, and they're like, they're crying, right? If you just make a judgment from what's going on, you're like, oh, what a bad dad. But when they turn 25 and their teeth are not rotten, they're going to be like, thank you for not letting me have bucket loads of lollies and ruining my teeth. Are you getting what I'm saying? They can't see the judgment fully yet. There was one more question, but if there isn't, then we're going to wrap up because this has gone longer than I thought. But hopefully this has helped you. Judgment. Now you got to do the hard work, which is what? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. When you don't do something and you're scared to do something, tell the truth. Oh my gosh, I'm putting my value in that person. I'm putting my value in their opinion. I'm putting my value in how many likes I'm going to get, and And then make the choice. What's the choice? I change. I don't want my value to be in them anymore. I'm going to put my value in who God says I am, and I'm going to walk it out. And here is the hardest part. It's not enough for you to make the decision in your head. You have to provide the direction to your body. You have to provide the direction through your action. The decision requires actual action. A decision is not just something you make up in your mind. It requires action. So I go, you know what? I don't want to give my value to all these people. I'm going to now get it only from God. And then I start acting from that place, which means what? I write the book. I put the content out. I start sharing the word, whatever that is. Are you with me? So I hope that helped you. As usual, I want to tell you, we have a group coaching program called Royal Hybrids. You can jump into that group. It will change your life. There is a link in the caption. You can click on that. Those of you that are already in hybrids, you might want to tell some people to get in here so we can start training and actually doing what we are created to do. I hope you enjoyed today. If you have any other subjects you want me to touch on, I'd love for you to put in the comments. Otherwise, love you lots. Have a good one. And I will see you on the next one. Remember, live full, die empty. Live full, die empty.